Digital recapitulation then.
Performs a specific physiological function.
Okay, good morning, children. Good morning,
Morning,
children.
ma'am.
We have, yeah, we have, good morning, good morning. Last class we were learning about the basis of classification, and we have done with, we have understood that animals have been placed in different phylums, in different classes, and like in different, genus species on the basis of various features. These features we call it as basis of classification. And under that we have already learned about what do you mean by cellular or level of organization. Then we have understood what you mean by level of organization is okay, was over. Then still it was going on, only level of organization only we were studying, since it is a very elaborate topic. With few examples we have done, like what do you mean by level of organization: cellular level, tissue level, organ system level, right? So organ system, we have learned cellular level are those levels like many cells are present, but these cells are not togetherly formed as tissues, since tissues means group of cells having similar structure and performing same function. So in some like poriferans, we don't find any tissues. So cellular structure you find only many cells present and they all do their functions. They are cellular poriferans, right? Then we have seen the second type, like tissue level in coelantrates. Right? Coelantrates are the examples which show different types of tissues, like few cells together forming a tissue and doing one function. So that is tissue level. Coming little more higher degree, we have seen organ level. Example were from platyhelminthes, that is uh, planaria we have seen, which has got organs, one organ doing one function. Then we have concluded with the last one is crisis of lymph nodes, lymphatic vessels, lymph. Okay, and these makes the lymphatic system. So nervous system is made up of brain, nerves, spinal cord. So what we mean to say is not one, more than one organs. When they come together and perform one function, we call it higher degree. Most till date, the highest degree of evolution, organ system level, which is found in human and in birds also you can see. So these higher degree, this was the first basis of classification, that is level of organization. Shall we move ahead? This point was clear to all. For this only we have learned many other examples, like when we say uh, open and closed system of digestion. For that we have seen planaria is the example, again in platyhelminthes, having organ system, having organ level of organization, in which they have got incomplete digestive system, having one aperture only for the ingestion and egestion, right? Same way, but the complete one is the one, it is defined as having two apertures, so separate apertures, one for ingestion, one for egestion. Okay, then only we call it as complete digestive system. So that is the one thing. Then we have also seen about the open and closed circulatory system. Circulation is very much important in human body, sorry, any living organism, for circulating the things from one place to another, right? Even you will find the circulation in poriferans where there is no system present at all, there is only cells present. So when we reach in the first phylum porifera, I will let you know how the things get circulated, because the thing which is having like the, suppose the mouth receives the food, from there it has to reach to the stomach, and from there the digestion took place, and the digested food has to reach to each and every part of the body. So how this take place, every organism including plants also, they have a particular type of vascular system, circulatory system. Okay, so in human it is happens, like the example is the same tap having a pipe along with it. If you have a pipe along with it, what happens? We can very fast flow the water quick and very fast. That's the same difference between the open and closed circulatory system. In the open circulatory system, they too have heart, they too have vessels, but these vessels are not again further in closed condition. They are not in a contact with the next system. Otherwise, like in human, as I told you before also, in human, if you see the closed circulatory system, how it is from the heart, or heart receives all the impure blood from the all organ through the veins. From the veins, it comes into the heart. From the heart, it goes to the lungs. From the lungs, for this there are all vessels are present. Okay, vessels, not it's simply going through vessels, through closed system. It reaches to the lungs oxygenate it, then pass it back into the lungs, oxygenated blood through the vessels, and the vessels again further pull it or pump it into the arteries, which will carry the oxygenated blood to the each and every cell, or you can say organ, tissues. It will reach and provide food, oxygen, and take away the waste and everything. So this is how it is working closed, and that's why it is very quick. And warm-blooded animals need quick energy. Okay, so usually you will find these animals like us who need more energy. They have got, the system has evolved further and has got closed circulatory system. Now we can move ahead. Okay. Okay, we can start the video. Can't hear because of it's not shared with the computer sound.
Echinoderms and chordates,
Okay, fine.
arthropods, mollusks. Echinoderms and chordates exhibit this level of organization. Organ systems can also differ in complexity in various animal groups. For example, platyhelminthes have an incomplete digestive system, where a single opening outside the body serves as both the mouth and the anus, whereas humans have a complete digestive system that has two openings, a mouth and an anus. You will also find two types of circulatory systems in animals, open and closed. Symmetry is another feature by which animals are classified. They can be asymmetrical, like sponges, or have radial symmetry, like coelenterates, ctenophores, and echinoderms. However, most animals like annelids and arthropods have bilateral symmetry. Cell organization is the next feature used for classification. There are two types of cell organization.
Yeah. I've told you before also about the symmetry. On the basis of the symmetry, we can put the animal in three types. Totally, we cannot, whichever way you cut it radially or you cut it bilaterally, you will not get the animal in two equal halves. Then they are called as asymmetrical, like uh, poriferans. The first phylum or under the animal kingdom are the examples are poriferans. Okay, so these pore bearing animals, anyway you cut it lateral, you cut it radial, you will never get them in two equal halves. So they are called as asymmetrical, while the symmetrical can be again of two types. If the animal is cut radially and we get two equal half, like coelentrates, the next phylum after porifera, coelentrates, or echinoderms. You might have seen starfish, right? Starfish is again a kind of examples which you can find uh, radial symmetry. You can cut it into two equal half if you cut it radially. So radial symmetry. While most of the organisms show bilateral symmetry, if you cut it lateral, you will get two equal half. Okay, so that is what the symmetry talks about. Then coming to the next one is cell organization. Okay, I told you this also. I gave you an idea during the introductory class. I told you that when the term what is written in front of you is diploblast and triploblast. Okay, this word means we all belong to triploblast. Okay, we are triploblastic organism. Little in detail I want to tell you about it. It means during after the sexual reproduction, okay, when the fusion of the male and female gametes take place and one zygote is formed, okay, that is the zygote is now has once it has formed, it will have either two layers or it will have three layers. Okay, if it has got two layers, it is known as diploblastic or diploblastic animals. And with these two layers, that is ectoderm, endoderm, the outer layer is known as ecto and the inner layer is known as endo. So with ecto and endo derm we call it. Ecto is outside one, endo is the internal, inside one. So with these two layers, as you can see the whole animal, this under the diploblast diagram, you see very clearly two layers you can see. The first layer is known as ecto, the other layer is known as endoderm. And these two terminal layers will be responsible for the further growth of that organism. That means everything made inside that organism is because of these two layers or out of these two layers. While triploblastic, we belong to triploblastic animals. Triploblastic, the word tells you three layers of germinal epithelium, three layers of germinal tissues. Okay, we have got three layers. All this so triploblastism is a high order character, and you will find like ectoderm and endoderm. In between the ecto and endo, there is one more layer known as mesoderm. So ectoderm is the outer one, endoderm is the innermost layer. In between that two, the middle one is known as mesoderm. So in triploblastic organism, everything, if you talk like if I talk about human being only, everything, if you talk about skin, eyes, nose, heart, lungs, kidney, everything is made out of these three germinal layers, and that is what we call it as triploblastic or triploblastism. Okay, and what you call it, triplo notification. Okay, so this triploblastic character is a highly evolved character. Okay, yes, we can go ahead.
Diploblastic and triploblastic. Coelenterids have diploblastic organization, where the germinal layers of the cell consist of an external ectoderm and an internal endoderm. Members from phylum Platyhelminthes to chordates have triploblastic organization, where a third germinal layer, the mesoderm, is found between the ectoderm and the endoderm. The fourth important feature by which animals are classified is the nature of coelom. The coelom is the body cavity lined by mesoderm. The presence or absence of this cavity.
Okay, little idea I gave you again during the introductory time. I've told you that presence of coelom is a high order, again highly. Like every time they remember children, one easy thing to remember about this characteristic feature is like when we say asymmetry, then after that asymmetry we are starting with animals, symmetrical animals. So once the symmetrical character begins, you will not find in between any organism having asymmetry. Okay, likewise, once you have cellular level, then I mean the classification or the animals are placed in the phylum in such way that as we learn the phylum one after another in a chronological order, you will not find the order reverse. Like if you find what do you call it, if I say cellular level, for example, poriferans are cellular level, after that is the coelenterate, it's a tissue level. So you can see they have been placed according to the higher order only, how they evolved. Okay, same way, coming to the nature of cell organization, that triploblastic and see, till you can say coelenterate, it is diploblast. Okay, and then from platyhelminthes to all, including us chordates, all of us are triploblasts. So you will find that so easy to remember which character till where and which character. So from there the characters become common. So once you learn from where the things have been started, then you have to just learn the phylum in sequence. Once you learn the phylum in sequence, the characteristic features, if they ask you, if it's a 5-mark question, children, write the characteristic. I can ask you directly 5-mark question, write all the characteristic features of any particular phylum. So if you learn in comparative degree, it will be very easy to remember, because these are all characters. Once you start writing, it becomes easy to write. Okay, so now coming to coelom. First animal, if you talk about poriferans, they don't have coelom at all, so they're acoelomate. Okay, then they don't have organ, they don't have tissues, then why they don't, then coming to like that it goes. Okay, now the coelom also is connected with the cell organization. All those organisms which are having two derms only, that is ectoderm and endoderm, diploblastic animals will have either will not have the coelom, like uh, poriferans don't have coelom. Otherwise they have coelom, but it is pseudocoelomate. Just before the what you call it, platyhelminthes, it is pseudocoelomate. The one is pseudocoelomate, and after that all are coelomate. Why? Because pseudocoelom means presence of some cavities but not proper. Proper means, I told you already, mesoderm is the middle layer. If the coelom is been originating from the mesoderm, if the coelomic cavity is originated from the mesoderm layer, it is known as true coelom. Okay, and they are known as coelomate. So what is coelom? It's cavity. Our body is having many cavities, and it is very well lined with the coelom, a very fine covering like protection. Okay.